The starting quarterback was settled before the season even began. The real question is, who is the backup? So far, E.J. Manuel has gotten all the reps and goes in before Connor Cook in the preseason games. Cook has looked better than Manuel in the preseason so far and has led more scoring drives. In the end, if Carr doesn't start a game, hopefully one of these guys can keep the season afloat. And now we move on to the running back group. Again, this was set long ago. Lynch is a starter and has largely been kept in bubble wrap since the preseason. We know what he can do, and he's the guy Oakland loves. The goal for him is to have around 200 carries or less this season. That way, he can be fresh for when the playoffs begin. He has plenty of depth and players behind him to keep him fresh throughout the season. The committee approach works best, and I see Lynch filling in Latavius Murray's role and having roughly 50% of the carries. As for the tight ends, the question here is if the Raiders will carry any more tight ends. Tight ends are versatile and very useful on special teams. In the end, I think these are the three guys the Raiders will go with. All three can block and catch and are good all around. Two tight end sets are quite normal for the Raiders, and who can blame them with this tight end talent? Teams no longer can just be in nickel defense, otherwise they'll get exposed in the run game. For the receivers, Cooper and Crabtree are formed one of the best wide receiver duos in football, and Derek Carr trusts them completely. Patterson has played well in the preseason so far as a receiver, and could end up pushing Roberts for the slot wide receiver role. Holden ends up taking the final slot and will mostly be used on special teams. Bottom line, the starting wide receivers are elite and give Carr plenty of options. A small caveat for the offensive line is Denver Kirkland should have a spot, but he's hurt. If he ends up on IR, then I have Ian Silberman taking the spot. This offensive line is deep and talented. Donald Penn, Kalichi Osemele, Rodney Hudson, and Gabe Jackson form as formidable offensive line as there is in the NFL. The right tackle spot is up for grabs, but I have faith in both Newhouse and Alexander. This group features plenty of depth, with young David Sharp being groomed for the future. And now we move on to the defense. Hopefully, someone from this group is able to provide an interior pass rush. Khalil Mack is a game wrecker and arguably the best player on defense. The rest of the defensive line has very high upside, but hasn't shown much on the field. Ellis is a run stuffer of the group, and Edwards, Vanderdoss, and Ward represent the hope the Raiders have in the line. This is the deepest group the Raiders have on defense and must show up for the Raiders to be elite. 4 out of the 5 cornerback spots were locked up at the beginning of training camp. The problem is, they haven't looked very good. The best and most consistent corner was David Amerson, and unfortunately, he suffered a concussion in the preseason game against the Cowboys. Smith and Carey have taken turns playing bad. Conley has been hurt most of the offseason, and he has the first-round talent to be an elite top 10 cornerback. These guys have the ability and pedigree to be great, but it hasn't showed up on the field yet. The linebacker group consists of Bruce Irvin and everybody else. Irvin is a Pro Bowl caliber player and a starter on most teams in the NFL. The rest of the group is pretty interchangeable. James has one starting inside linebacker spot locked up, but there's still going to be a platoon for the other spot. The hope is Marquel Lee wins it eventually, but nobody has looked good in that spot. Delete Calhoun has the ability, but he hasn't shown much in his pro career thus far. LaTroy Lewis is a surprise making this spot. He's shown the ability to rush the passer and could end up being the guy who spells Mack and Irvin. Reggie Nelson is by far the most experienced out of this safety group, but he has slowed down and has taken too many chances as a Raider. Carl Joseph and Obi Melifonwu have the talent to form one of the best safety duos in the NFL. Both are young and need experience, but in just his second year, Joseph looks like he's doing quite well and could earn himself a Pro Bowl nod. The last guy is Luwani, and he is a gamer. He has shown up in practice and in the preseason and could end up seeing the field during the regular season. Lots of potential for a 7th round pick. No surprises with the specialists. Janikowski and Kondo have been doing this forever, and Marquette King is the most entertaining punter in the league. They've been together for a long time and have plenty of chemistry.